highly anticipated eFootball 2026 is dropping soon, and
God help me.
I've never seen so many people get excited for what's essentially the same old convoluted mess with no noticeable changes and meaningful improvements. Just recycled hype. But not you, that's why you're here, right? The most controversial question is simple. Will the supposed new game finally fix the degenerate, inconsistent gameplay and those questionable core mechanics that make Ron Perlman a tactical genius? Honestly, who knows? But sadly, that's where we are.
A public menace.
I'm breaking down my top 5 elements that I think could actually liven up eFootball 26. Okay. Sure, some of these points might not pass the fanboy credibility test, but I stand by them. And I'll try my best to steer clear of the usual rage-fueled topics that turn every eFootball discussion into a group therapy session.
No way!
News cycle, same direction, and my reaction is about what you'd expect. On one hand, I'm actually kind of hyped to try the new Legends. On the other, my wallet's already flinching. But it's not all submission and humiliation. I think it's fair to mention they did try to shove these Legends down our throats. Like the man who just flatlined standing. The guy who couldn't keep his promiscuous off-pitch antics in check. And of course, the most beloved beast Adriano. I won't even joke about this. That man's story is pure tragedy. But back to the point. Can we please get a throwback campaign that isn't powered by our bank account's tears? And we're not even going to talk about how much of a clusterfuck this pack was. In fact, what I'm about to show you just summarizes it all up.
In case you haven't caught on, I just slit my dick down your throat, and you thanked me for it.
It felt like a betrayal from my part. Kind of like how Trent's former team felt when he announced that he would be leaving the club for reasons still unknown to many. I have a wild idea that might just blow your mind, so hold on to something. How about, instead of stroking us dry with gacha packs that feel like emotional tax fraud, they actually bring back some real throwback magic. I'm talking classic menu tracks that hit harder than your dad's belt, and those over-the-top signing animations that made even a 75 rated player likable. And for once, just take a step back from the relentless cash grabs, which sort of raw dogs the feeling of sense of guilt and self-worth out of you. It's like getting a blowy from a python. Feels good initially, until you realize it's swallowing you whole. Next up is Master League. And honestly, at this point, I have a better shot at cracking quantum mechanics than figuring out what the hell is going on with this game mode. It might as well be the Schrodinger's experiment. I am tired of grinding divisions for the reasons that are important as when we actually thought the Bottlers might win the Champions League before GTA 6. Just stop it. Enough with the cock teases. It's been long enough, and these blue balls are beginning to change the way you look at Carol from TWD. Other sources say it might be released as DLC, which is just a fancy way of saying, remember that thing you loved? Yeah, now it costs extra to feel something again. At this point, my patience is on life support. Did I mention that their attention to detail is dead as f***? That brings us to our next element. They should really add features like heat maps and proper in-game data. Something, anything, to help the realism a little bit. That's the bare minimum. Imagine having real-time heat maps, so you can tell whether your midfielder is actually putting in work or just jogging around like it's a Sunday stroll. Passing networks that show who's pulling the strings and who's just playing hide and seek behind defenders. XG and XA stats, so you can scream at your striker not just emotionally, but with cold, calculated rage. Momentum graphs to show the exact moment your team collectively decided to fall asleep, usually right before conceding 3 goals in 10 minutes. Off-the-ball movement tracking, so you know who's making intelligent runs and who's out there logging cardio. But no, instead, we get the same copy-paste post-match stats that tell you had 58% possession and still lost 4-0. Fucking fantastic. And I know what you're thinking. Who's even going to look at all that? Well, I am. Because for once, I like to have actual data that explains how I lost. And how my rectum got violated by someone whose entire playstyle revolves around sweaty near-post cutbacks and 99 pace merchants. You know what they say, It's not about how you perform, it's about how you make them feel. Well, the UI and UX in this game feel all friction and no connection whatsoever, which is the opposite of what you want. The transitions look old and feel old like government tax portals, and the flow is sterile. The whole experience looks like that crusty sock in your room you refuse to wash. If there's supposed to be a campaign, then make it look and feel like it, not a stitched-up slideshow with the emotional range of Wednesday Addams. Right now, it's all foreplay friction with no payoff. Climax without contact. And you can probably tell why I saved this one for last. I don't think there's a need for me to explain that there's a difference between gameplay and graphics. It's so obvious, and so is the fact that they both need polishing. My take on this is that the gameplay feels fundamentally miscalibrated. Inputs lack fidelity, animations override player intent, and moment-to-moment control just isn't rewarding anymore. Of course, things might change after this video. If you're still here, either you're really into satire or you need a therapist. Either way, like and subscribe, because nothing really fills the void like making terrible decisions and calling it self-improvement.